It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talk Flicks podcast. I'm your host, Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. And ladies and gentlemen, this past week, I got to go back to the world of Cloak and Dagger, Spy vs. Spy, the world of espionage. This week, the show Slow Horses is back on the tube, back at Apple TV. Let me get into that. First couple things. I want to give a big shout to Detroit, Michigan, my home state. Listen, love it. In Detroit, this past week, the Detroit Lions destroyed the Ravens, bro. They destroyed them. We're doing well. I think we're going to get the Super Bowl this year. So my Michigan brethren, thanks for listening to the podcast. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for listening. And additionally, this episode is brought to you by the song called Layers of Limits by yours truly, the Captain Che Cortez. It's me rapping about pushing the boundaries of our mind and existence, pushing forward, going through adversity, trying to improve our lifestyle, trying to do better. So if you want to hear the song called Layers of Limits, I'll put the link below. Check it out. Now, let's get on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this past week, we're back to Slow Horses. Season 5, Episode 1, called Bad Dates. Now, in this episode, there is like a mass shooting for some lone gunmen over in the UK. And it looks like they're going to explore that this year. It looks like it has political ties. They're going to go and look into that, see what's going down with that. Should be interesting how they dissect that. Now, this type of situation has been going on quite a bit in the real world. And it's a tragedy, and it's horrible way things go down. And it just wish it would stop. But for some reason, society, this keeps happening. It's very messed up. Now, also what's going on in this week's episode is that the crew, the Slow Horses, are still recovering from a loss of last year. And that's what I want to get into. So in the episode, we see how a few of the characters deal with loss. Now, real quick, I just want to say this. I'm going to be talking about loss and these various ways of dealing with it. And I just want to put out there, I'm no type of professional. I have no medical training. I have no degrees, certification. But I have lived life, and I've read a lot of books, and I've done a lot of thinking about things. And this is my perspective. This is not medical advice in any way whatsoever. If you have any kind of real issue or something like that, go see your medical professional, talk to them, because I'm just talking about this so we can explore, what happened in the show. Now, let me say this. From my observations in Living Planet Earth, it seems like there's a few different ways that people handle heavy emotions, from loss or anything else, right? Because if you have some type of loss, the ways you can go with it. Now, you can numb yourself with substances, to cover up the heightened emotions you might feel. Now, if you've lost somebody, because I've lost somebody very close to me, for the love, you guys all know this. And there's a lot of heavy emotions that happen when that happened, right? And so my method was just, lean into the practices that I created to deal with stress. For me, it's like meditation, working out, reading, doing art. These things help me, to process and deal with like heavy emotions and loss. Now, I want to say this. In the show, we see two extreme ways of dealing with these kind of emotions. One of the characters, who's taking a leave, health leave, she says she feels very numb. It's very numb, right? And this other character who's dealing with loss as well, she's leaning into substances, right, to mask, the uncomfortable feelings. So one just blocking them out, numb, then leaning into substances. And let me just say this as well. Now, for a moment of time, when I was not leaning into my practices for dealing with stress and did them less, I did kind of feel numb for a moment of time. And I understand how that feels because these emotions are heavy and your normal coping mechanisms are not there. Just kind of feel numb because that's my process, because I will not do drugs. I will not do substances. I just have my method. I won't get into that. I won't do it. I just got to numb it out. That's how I would roll. That's what I wasn't doing my coping things, right? But when I engage with healthy coping things, such as like I told you, exercise and various things, it does really help deal with that. Now, on the other end, like I said in the show, the character is, doing dope drugs to, handle that. Which, let me say this. I highly do not recommend you do that at all. I've been saying this podcast for a long time to say no to drugs because I just don't support that. right? There's a lot of other methods for dealing with stress. It's just not the greatest thing to be doing, in my opinion. No, I highly advise not to do that. Now, you don't take my word for it. Like I said, I'm not an expert or whatever, but just from my observations of life and living planet Earth, I'm 49 years old, it just seems like that's not a good route to go. So please try to pursue other methods if you are, having those kind of emotions coming up. Like I said, see the health professional. They will definitely guide you to where you gotta go. Now, the third option with dealing with heavy emotions, what I opened up at the beginning, is that we talk about the dude who did the damage in the beginning of the show. He's also feeling heavy emotions or whatever he's feeling. And he started to lash out at society, which I would never, ever, ever endorse, ever. Not a good move. Never lash out. I don't believe in violence, fighting, none of those things. Do not do these things. In my opinion, just don't do them. It's not a good look, not a good move. There's a lot of things that come with that you just do not want. I said, go seek professional help, talk to friends and family. Just do not go that route. Let me just say this as well. So if you feel that, you lack community or you just don't have connections with human beings, because I know a lot of that's going on. I read a lot of books, read a lot of reports, did a lot of study, watch a lot of podcasts. I know us males are a little disconnected from before. Maybe not a lot of, companionship, female or male. There's a lot of solitude with males. I'm one of them where I was for a long time. I know what you're going through. I've been here, I felt it. For me, I just leaned into my work. I just did more creativity, more exercise, did those things. I found, happiness in that. But some of you guys maybe don't got that. So you guys are always welcome at this podcast. Message me, send some DMs, whatever. Look out, connect. We'll connect with you, whatever. You have a community here in this podcast, and everything else we do exists in fiction. All the music, the podcast, come engage with us, talk to us, share with us. We're here to just support you. We all about doing art to grow us as human beings, about growth, improvement. I want to level up, do better. I want you guys to win, be successful, whatever that looks like for you. Yeah, so please come join us. So anyways, back to the show. This show, right out the gate, is examining heavy topics. Loss, emotions, right from the jump. So I like this show. It's very good. They explore a lot of themes and ideas that us humans go through quite a bit. And who hasn't experienced loss on some level? Everybody's experienced that. There's got a lot of ways you can do it. You can numb out, you can do substances, distractions, or, or take action, which do not, do that, like I said. So, so just when you're navigating the world, life can be tough. Things will happen. It happens to all of us. I've been stressed many times in my life, many, many times. But over the years, as I've gotten older, I just found better ways to deal with it, right? Now, I would just say this, you might fall back, you might step back, maybe you act the way you don't want to act, but just keep pushing to do better, improve, and try to handle the stress better when you encounter it. Now, one additional thing, these people in this show, Slow Horses, are dealing with very high stakes situations. Like, this is life and death in their world, right? But just because it's life and death does not mean we have stress like that in our own world. Living our regular lifestyle, having jobs and families and, whatever we're doing, a lot of responsibility in that, and to handle that. And there could be immense amount of stress, right? And that being said, even these spies, right, dealing with stress, our real world's no different. And how are we going to handle that stress? So as you watch these shows, take a look at it, look for the lessons, see how they deal with things, and see what we can learn and say, I'm not going to do that. You see the lady, she's doing the substances to mitigate the stress. Look, feelings, just look. Look what happens from doing that. Observe and say, bro, I don't want that, right? So straight up. So ladies and gentlemen, of course, we watch it too. We get to watch the spies do the spy work, but also additionally, we can learn some lessons about life. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen Slow Horses, I highly recommend checking it out because it's a great, great show. Season 5, can't wait to see what's going on this season. It's over at Apple TV. They got a lot of other great shows as well. So thanks for joining me. Podcast is back to a week. We're doing Tulsa King and Slow Horses till they're done for the seasons. Should be some good times. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Follow us on the socials. We got an existing fiction fourth wall store that just opened up. We have some merch connected to the podcast. Follow us, share with us. We growing, baby. The EIF family is growing. Grow with us, baby. We in this for the long hauls. It's been like 15 years, man. We've been doing this for a minute. Come support the movement, baby. We grow, we improve, we do positive things over here. The captain has your back and wants you to succeed, baby. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see. He enjoys true leisure who has time to improve his soul's estate. Henry David Thoreau. Till next time, it's Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks Flicks.